Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, yeah, Crackling Lance League start, at least for the way that, you know, the tree that I set, everything seems to all be looking good. From my set, I'm set to hit about 1.8 mil DPS by level 90. That's literally just with treeing. There were some adjustments to the tree and build setup, and I'll talk about that in a moment, just with leveling and what you need to do. Currently, I'm sitting at about 350,000 deeps. And that's on hit with about 75% crit. And accounting for sigil stages, about 0.5 mil once we drop sigil on bosses. So, you know, that's not too bad considering we're up to T8 maps already and just powering through. I've just completed my my Atlas as well for Delve. So I've got all my Delve nodes, which is good. Now, I guess we'll talk about leveling and what you need to do to make sure that you don't have a bad experience leveling with this one. Okay, so upon league start, just looking at the tree where it is now. Now, I originally had the tree set to sort of go down and pick up defense, but what I realized as I was going through yesterday was that I needed a bit more uptick in offense and cast speed. What I actually ended up doing was taking a few more nodes to pick up mana regeneration early here, and then basically I went down to glancing blows, and picked up my sanctuary nodes here, and then I actually went up and I picked up lightning walker, mental rapidity, lightning mastery, and mystic bulwark pretty much off the cuff. And then once I finished these 3 nodes, I then went back and continued to build my defenses down until I picked up my overcap res so I could run my righteous fire. So I did make a few deviations yesterday, and I also picked up Iron Will pretty early on as well. There's the 12-hour live stream yesterday, and everything's pretty much showing proof in the pudding that that approach worked. Just with building it, if you notice your damage wasn't as high as what it should have been, you needed to adjust for that and pick up some additional nodes that amped up crit and cast speed in particular. Now, as far as the leveling skill that I ended up using yesterday, and I posted an update on the tree and everything like that, I ended up using Absolution. And the reason being, from level 1, or Act 1 through level 4, I used Absolution, added Lightning, Onslaught, and Faster Casting. Just a really easy skill to level the Inquisitor up with. And then basically, once I got Spell Echo, I had my my Crackling Lance in the background in my offhand. So when you go into your second kit, as I've got gems here leveling up, I had it leveling up while I was playing Absolution, and then once I got Spell Echo at the end of, I think, Act 4, I then switched on to Crackling Lance on a 4-link setup, and ran Crackling Lance, Spell Echo. I didn't have increased crit, but I was running added lightning damage, and I was running Onslaught for a while. And then eventually I switched out Onslaught for increased critical strikes, and that was pretty much all you needed to do to get that working. That's pretty much it for leveling. Like, that was it. It was pretty piece of cake. Now, when did I get RF working? I got RF working once my resistances were overcapped for fire, and in particular, you need to pick up these nodes down here for Barbarism. You need Solar Steel, Prismatic Skin, and the maximum fire resist node down here to be able to achieve that, as well as ensuring that you continually balance out your gear as you go. And like, I've still got a lot of my starter gear here. I'm just running a 5-link right now, so I'm hitting, nearly, well, I don't have my last ascendancy point either. I'm hitting pretty good DPS with just my 5-link currently without inspiration. And that's pretty much, the leveling to get RF working. Now, mana sustain, that's another question that continually came up. There are pretty easy ways to sustain mana in this build. Number 1, you're not going to be running Zealotry straight away. And one thing I didn't do throughout the leveling guide was outline the gems you'd be running at each rung. That's learning on me. I clearly needed to articulate that. So what I'm basically going to say now is the auras that you're going to be running at this point are going to be Clarity, Determination, Arctic Armor, and Tempest Shield. And so the other thing with Clarity is to get that to pop off. You're going to need to run the Mana Mastery node here. Clarity has 100% mana reservation efficiency. And you also need to pick up the armor node down here that allows for determination to have 25% less mana reservation efficiency. Now the remaining mana sustain, there is a bit of a sustain issue initially. Once you level up your clarity, it's fine. The other thing that you'll be getting eventually is Righteous Decree, you'll be getting Tireless, and you'll be running Inspiration. And also we run Mystic Bulwark because it gives you 1% mana regeneration per spell block, which we have 75% spell block, so 75% increase to mana regeneration. We also run Mental Rapidity to deal with mana regen as well. So pretty much once you've got all those things, you should be okay to sustain mana. If you're not, you need to pull back an aura, or you need to level up your clarity a bit more, but it's pretty much, you know, that's as simple as I could make it. Those seem to be the big questions. Outside of that, like, I'm slapping T8 bosses, unique map bosses. Heist, I've been doing a bit of heist, and total gearing, I haven't really spent any currency. I think I spent a total like 15 chaos, pretty much what's dropped on the ground for me. But anyway, I'll talk about the gearing next. Okay, gearing. So I lucked out with like one drop. The rest of it is all pretty much shite. But throughout the game, I actually had a Ezomite peak drop, which gives you unwavering, which meant I couldn't get stunned. So I ran that pretty much with leveling the whole of maps, and that was available from, you know, like level 53. It's a pretty good item actually now since the changes. But pretty much for gearing, I've had the same wand for some time now. Literally flat spell damage. I actually had added cold to spells and cast speed. That was it. Exactly what was in the POB. That's what you needed to run. Now, if you weren't getting the shield to work and your cast speed was a little low, you could have double switched to wands as well and had 2 wands with cast speed, and that would also amp up your cast speed. I didn't have to do that. I was fine without that. I did have a more conquest drop, so we're just going to absolutely blatantly abuse the 12%, the damage taken recouped as life, and what you'll see in the final tree that I've got here, and I'll talk about it shortly, is I'm running infused flesh, so we get 30%, 36, 42% damage is recouped as life, plus a huge amount of regen, and an amicable amount of armor at this stage of the game, and all overcap reses. The only thing that we're down on is a chaos res, and that's it. This is day 1 too, by the way, and hours played, 17 hours by day, halfway through day 2, so we're doing okay. So outside of that, amulet, it's just any old amulet that dropped. I just got one with crit multi that I lucked out with and some rarity. Chest, same thing, literally just health regeneration where I could find it. I managed to get a bit of ES on the chest. I haven't even really upgraded that. And then just scoped out some fire res, but that's just a 5 link I picked up for 3 chaos on the market. Shield I got for like 6 chaos, and it just had good health regen, all resist, and nearly 1,000 armor, so it's a big source of armor. Ring, literally just a ring that dropped for me that had 11% cast speed, that's it, and some dex, very similar to the higher end ring that's in the tree. I did have gifts from above drop. Reason why this is so good now is you get 50% increased damage while on consecrated ground, so you always get increased damage by 50% for the Inquisitor. You get 30%, 32% increased global crit just on the explicit modifiers, and another 20% on the global, so it's a huge source of crit. And you get increased block attack damage by 5 while you're on consecrated ground, which means you get 10 block while you're on consecrated ground, so you get a lot more block. I actually probably take this ring into endgame. Honestly, it's really good, and it gives you 48% increased rarity for enemies killed with crit strikes, and we max that crit, so we're getting an easy rarity increase off this. Belt, again, any old belt that does resistances, some regen, health. This is a pretty shit belt on this tune right now. Now, gloves. These were like, I think, 4C. Literally, you just want anything that's got attack and cast speed while focused, and then you map focus to your move button. If you're in the Syndicate and you're doing the missions and you have a drop that you have chance to do double damage while focused, take it. I've got this to roll on my shield for when I upgrade my shield, so I have a chance to do double damage. It'll amp up my damage significantly, plus focus, and then if the Syndicate mod drops for crit strikes are lucky for your belt, take that pretty much while you focus. You get 3 huge damage buffs off that max out crit attack speed and flat attack damage. Now boots, movement speed boots, life regen, life resistances, that's it. And flasks are just like quicksilver. I haven't even got anything on the quicksilver. Granite, diamond, and silver with an eternal flask. That's all you need for gearing. Like, it's, as I said throughout the guide and everything, it's super easy to gear this, and yeah, you could technically play this SSF. Like, it's pretty easy. But anyway, that's it for gearing. Okay, so gem setups. In the helm, I'm currently running a custom damage taking cold snap setup, so I can generate frenzy charges. Haste, Val haste, which I haven't even been using, which gives me an extra 200k. I don't have it ticked on the tree, I don't think. Haste. Oh, it is ticked. There we go. 315,000 DPS. Still pretty good before last ascendancy. Sorry, bloody headset gets stuck on the side of the chair all the time. And then beyond that, we've got in the wand, Flame Dash, Sigil of Power, Clarity. So there's a lot of refinement to go here, but yeah, that's pretty much it. In the chest, Crackling Lance, Spell Echo, increase crit damage, increase crit strikes, and Intensify to get that intensity up. And then I've got an added lightning damage leveling up, but I'll end up using Inspiration in the chest, and that'll get my mana cost down to like 40 mana per cast. In the shield, we've got Molten Shell and Custom Damage Taken, and then Tempest Shield. In my gloves, Determination, Assassin's Mark, Faster Attacks, and Shield Charge. And in the boots, Arctic Armor and Righteous Fire, because we always run RF. And as you can see, I can fully sustain RF with about 823 life regeneration at this stage. So super powerful. Yeah, you can really see it kick when you hit that focus. But yeah, really easy to skill up throughout the game. And then, as I said at the very start of the video, using Absolution will get you through the early game really easily. Okay, so pathing wise, pretty much the way that I started, and I'll respec this out to save points when I get better gear, is I moved into Sanctuary. I then went down and picked up Glancing Blows straight away. And Sanctuary, and I actually picked up Discipline and Training pretty early on as well, and that was just to get my life up and my defenses up to max block as soon as possible. And then I picked up Holy Dominion, Light of Divinity, moved up to Retribution, came across and got Quick Recovery that dealt with mana regeneration pretty quickly early in the game. Then I got Arcane's Dominion, Lightning Walker. I moved up and picked up Mental Rapidity and then the Intensity as well. Even though I wasn't using it at that point, it was good to have for when I did start. And then I picked up Crackling Speed, and then I picked up Mystic Bulwark. And then beyond that, I came back down, and I picked up Barbarism. I picked up Prismatic Skin first, then I picked up Heart of the Warrior. I picked up Solar Steel and the Determination node, and then I came back up, and I picked up my Purity of Flesh, Sovereignty, and my Arcane Potency and Crit multi-node for bosses. And then I came back up here, picked up the Cruel Preparations, and then into Infused Flesh to amp the shit out of my defense. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Now, Ascendancy-wise, you need to go Sanctuary first, Pious Path second, Righteous Providence, and then Inevitable Judgment last, which will give me an extra big boost. And on the tree, this is the exact tree with all the same gear. If we tick that on, we go up to 639,000 DPS. So literally at level 80 with shit gear, we're going to get to a mil pretty quickly. And actually, if we include our Sigils of Power, we get to 1 mil. Which is pretty damn powerful for a bloody league starter. But anyway, and an off-meta skill league starter too. Anyway, that's it for the tree. Okay, for Pantheons, you want to get Soul Lunaris. This is going to deal with pack mobs while you're like delving or heisting or in maps. And I always get Soul of Aberith, mainly because of Ignite and Burn really shits me off when I die to it, so I just negate it altogether. Okay, so I'll leave some B-roll at the very end. I hope everyone's having an okay league start. I should have adjusted the tree a bit more as I went. In the original videos, I have went back yesterday afternoon and readjusted the trees, put out notes and further updates around that as well on the channel. And my apologies for anyone who did have a bit of a rough start. I thought I fleshed it out enough, but I sort of made the assumption that peeps would sort of deviate. As long as you stick within the points of the tree, you just sort of need to feel the build out. So if it doesn't have enough damage, you go towards damage nodes. If it has got enough damage, but your defense is lacking, you go towards defense nodes, which is what I basically did when I started building it out yesterday again. But yeah, anyway, if you're playing Blazing Salvo, same circumstance as this. Just use basically the same tree. Now, I don't have Zealotry in the build, I can't sustain it, but what I'll end up doing is I'll add that in once I get Charisma and once I get the Helm enchant for 30% less, 30% reservation efficiency for Zealotry. Anyway, I'll leave some footage at the very end of the video, and yeah, have a good one.